Here's a comforting thought. Even the smartest people in history still manage to absolutely ruin their lives with galaxy brain decisions. You and I forget our keys. They flip economies, lose empires, accidentally invent ways to destroy themselves. And today, you're watching the best of the worst, the countdown of geniuses who outsmarted themselves. And number 1 is so wild, I almost deleted it. Number 10, Newton's bubble-brained investment. You know Isaac Newton for gravity, apples, pure brain vibes, but hand him a stock ticker, and suddenly he's that guy in your group chat buying crypto at 3 a.m. In 1720, Newton rode the South Sea Company stock up, got rich, cashed out, then watched it keep rising without him. Your brain knows this feeling. FOMO, the fear of missing out, drilling holes straight through your self-control. So Newton jumped back in. Near the top, the bubble popped. He lost a fortune. Later, he supposedly said he could calculate the motions of heavenly bodies, but not the madness of people. Quick challenge for you. Next time a coin stock or shiny can't lose thing is screaming up, say out loud, I might be Newton at a party right now. If that sentence stings, step back. Because the market has gravity too, and it pulls hardest when your ego is floating. And speaking of egos floating too high, let's talk about the man who lit up the world, then ripped up his own paycheck. Number 9. Tesla's torn up fortune. Nikola Tesla, wizard vibes, built the modern world with alternating current. The guy was shooting lightning bolts for fun, while the rest of us were still tripping over candle wax. But genius doesn't equal good decisions. When the company that backed AC hit financial trouble, Tesla idealist to the core tore up his royalty contract, the one that could have made him one of the richest men alive. He wanted AC to survive, not himself. Your brain wants to cheer, mine does too. But here's the nightmare. By ripping that contract, Tesla locked himself out of the golden age of electricity he created. While Edison and Westinghouse got rich, Tesla fed pigeons in New York. He died broke in a hotel room. Psychologists call this self-sabotage wrapped in idealism. You tell yourself you're choosing the greater good, but really you're kneecapping your own future. And if you think tearing up a contract was bad, wait until you see the genius who turned literal victory into total humiliation. Number 8. Napoleon's snowy faceplant. Napoleon, the dude could speedrun Europe with 500,000 troops and a questionable hat. But then he tried to fight Russia in winter. Classic blunder. 2,000 years earlier, the Romans froze their sandals off trying the same stunt. Napoleon, he marched in with 600,000 men, and only about 100,000 stumbled back out. Why? Because genius doesn't stop frostbite. Logistics broke, horses dropped, supply lines snapped. Suddenly, the conqueror of half the continent was stuck watching his army eat their boots. That's overconfidence bias. When you've been winning so hard, you assume the universe itself is on your side. But Winter doesn't care about vibes. His enemies didn't need to win battles. They just waited for snow to do the killing. You think Newton felt dumb losing his money? Napoleon watched his empire melt, one frostbitten toe at a time. And if you thought freezing to death was bad, wait till you meet the genius who drowned himself in his own success. Number 7. Kodak's self-destruct button. Picture this. You invent a company so dominant that its name becomes a verb. For nearly a century, Kodak was photography, and then they buried themselves. In the 1970s, a Kodak engineer built the first digital camera, the future in his hands. And what did Kodak do? They shelved it, hid it, pretended it didn't exist, because digital would cannibalize film sales. So they ignored it until everyone else built digital cameras. By the time Kodak woke up, their empire was 6 feet under. That's status quo bias. Your brain clings to the familiar, even when the unfamiliar is the only thing that'll save you. It's like refusing to update your phone because the old one still works, until it bursts into flames. The twisted irony, Kodak didn't get killed by outsiders. They got killed by their own brilliance, a future they invented but were too scared to use. And speaking of fear-strangling genius, let's talk about a man who solved the universe, but couldn't escape his own loneliness. Number 6. Galileo's gag order. You know Galileo telescope guy, saw moons around Jupiter, basically bullied the universe into revealing its secrets. But in the early 1600s, he made one dumb choice. He picked a fight with the Catholic Church. He published that Earth wasn't the center of the universe, which was right, but then he put the Pope's words into the mouth of a character named Simplicio. Translation: Yo Pope, you're the simpleton. Not his smartest move. The church dragged him to trial, forced him to recant, locked him under house arrest. So the man who mapped the heavens spent his last years staring at walls. That's illusion of invulnerability. Thinking your genius makes you untouchable. Until reality reminds you, nope, you're still human. Newton lost his fortune. Tesla tore his paycheck. Napoleon froze. Kodak ignored the future. And Galileo gagged himself with ego. But if you thought these were disasters, number 5 is so bizarre it feels like history playing a prank. Number 5. The Man Who Ignored Germs. Ignaz Semmelweis. Brilliant doctor. In the 1840s, he figured it out. Doctors were killing patients because they didn't wash hands after autopsies. Solution soap. Simple. Life-saving. Genius. And what did he do? He screamed at everyone until they hated him. Instead of persuading, he called colleagues murderers. They turned on him, called him crazy. His career imploded. Tragedy? He was right. Hand-washing worked. But the way he delivered the truth nuked his credibility. That's the backfire effect. Attack someone's beliefs too hard and their brain doesn't flip. It digs in deeper. Semmelweis ended up locked in an asylum, beaten by guards, dead by 47, all because he couldn't stop yelling, "Wash your hands." And if that's tragic, wait till you see the guy who gave away world domination. Number 4. Alexander's Desert Death March. Alexander the Great, conqueror of half the world by age 30. After reaching India, he decided to march home through the Gedrosian Desert. Not safe, not easy. The desert. Why? Ego. He wanted to outdo Cyrus the Great, who had failed the same stunt centuries earlier. So he dragged tens of thousands into blistering heat. Men collapsed. Supplies ran dry. Alexander survived, but his army crawled out broken. That's hubris. The belief your brilliance bends nature, but deserts don't bend. They swallow. Cyrus failed. Alexander failed. Same desert, same dumb choice. And speaking of dumb choices repeating, number 3 is where genius meets paranoia. Number 3. Howard Hughes locks himself away. Howard Hughes, billionaire, aviator, film director, inventor. At one point, the richest man alive. But instead of living, Hughes became prisoner of his brain. Obsessed with germs, he locked himself in hotel rooms, wore tissue boxes on his feet, demanded jars of his own urine lined up in rows. His empire didn't collapse from rivals. It collapsed because he couldn't escape his compulsions. That's OCD on overdrive. The man who built planes faster than sound couldn't touch a doorknob. And paranoia doesn't just cage geniuses, it cages societies, which sets us up for number 2. Paranoia that dragged a whole nation down. Number 2. Stalin's Science of Fear. Joseph Stalin. He industrialized the Soviet Union and simultaneously nuked its brainpower with paranoia. Scientists made discoveries. Genetics, cybernetics, new frontiers. But Stalin didn't like science that clashed with ideology. So instead of nurturing genius, he purged it. He backed Trofim Lysenko, a fake scientist with bogus crop theories, and agriculture collapsed. While the world raced forward, Soviet science starved. Millions died in famines fueled by bad science Stalin insisted was true. That's paranoid control bias, fear of losing power, torching the brilliance that could save you. And if that feels grim, number 1 is where genius solved one of history's hardest problems, then walked straight into tragedy. Number 1, Turing's Apple problem. Alan Turing cracked Nazi codes, fast-forwarded the end of World War II. His math annihilated the Enigma machine. Millions of lives saved. But genius doesn't shield you from cruelty. In the 1950s, being gay in Britain was criminal. Turing was convicted, chemically castrated, and in 1954 he died after biting into a cyanide-laced apple. The dumb choice wasn't being himself. It was believing the system's cruelty was inescapable. That's learned helplessness. Punishment hits so often your brain stops imagining escape. Turing cracked Enigma, but not the social prison around him. The man who saved nations couldn't save himself. From Newton's money to Tesla's torn contract, Napoleon's frostbite, Kodak's denial, Galileo's gag, Semmelweis's scream, Alexander's desert, Hughes's paranoia, Stalin's fear, and Turing's apple. Genius doesn't save you from dumb choices. So here's your challenge. Next time you feel like the smartest person in the room, double check if you're one dumb choice away from this list. And if your brain made it this far without rage quitting, hit like, drop your weirdest genius fail fact in the comments, and maybe Don't buy that shiny stock your buddy's hyping at 3 a.m. because the market has gravity too.